What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You guys already know what it is. It's draft season all year long, and today we're going to be doing another Chicago Bears mock draft. So if you're interested in anything related to the NFL draft, or you're a fan of the Chicago Bears and think I did a good job, consider hitting that subscribe button. We are still on the road to 600 subscribers. So I've done quite a bit of Chicago Bears mock drafts this season, especially when they're at the number 1 pick, now trading all the way back to number 9. See what we can get here. So taking a look, pretty realistic start here to the draft. We could look to trade back. Now this is a poverty offer in my opinion. Okay, could we do this? That's interesting. Chiefs are offering their first round pick at 32. I just like there's some good value there because you get 2 second round picks and a fourth, but I just feel like we're trading a little bit too much back. If you guys know what I'm saying. Like, I'm not comfortable going from 9 to 32. There's a tremendous drop off in value. So what do we want to do here? Now, there's an edge rusher here in Tyree Wilson I think we can't pass up on. And, considering that this is, very possible, not sure that Brian Brzee goes in the top 10, but we always have draft surprises from one team. So, okay, I think it's a no-brainer pick here. I think we could definitely consider one of the tackle spots because that is also a spot of need. I know that Tevin Jenkins does have the ability to play tackle, but those short arms are an issue, hence why he was playing guard for a bit of time. So we are going to go with Tyree Wilson here out of Texas Tech, and that kind of shores up that one edge rusher spot that we're really, really looking for in this year's draft because DeMarcus Walker was brought in from Tennessee, very versatile guy, play inside and outside, but in this case I think he's going to be playing outside for the most part. So, we do have Travis Gibson, but would much rather have someone else playing that edge opposite. And of course, we don't have pick 32 this year because that was traded away to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Chase Claypool. So not really going to be too concerned about the wide receiver spot, especially after the acquisition of DJ Moore. But this is a tremendous start. If Tyree Wilson finds his way all the way down to 9, I think the Chicago Bears are going to instantly turn in that card and get their edge rusher for the future. Okay, here we are picking here at pick number 54. Now, what do we want to do here? This is an interesting one. I'm not sure if the Bears are considering taking a running back in this year's class. There's a lot of good running backs in this group, and they did go out and sign Deontay Foreman. I think Khalil Herbert is a solid running back as well. I just don't know if running back is still on the table early on in this year's class, but that is to be determined. Okay, a lot of cornerbacks, and it's going to be tremendous value at this point. They could go cornerback here. Not sure if they will, though, but I think that should definitely be something to consider because Jalen Johnson is someone who's a solid player, but cannot stay healthy all the time. And then you got other guys like Kyler Gordon, still really young, still a lot to prove. So, interesting. We could go that route. We could go Siaki Ika, but I'm not sure and confident where he's going to go in the draft just because he's purely a nose tackle for the most part. Again, we did still want to address that tackle spot, and that's the tricky thing about this draft where the Chicago Bears, right, if they don't go tackle early on, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to find a guy that they like later on because right now it looks like Matthew Bergeron is the top prospect, and I don't feel really great about that, to be quite honest with you guys. So I think tackle really needs to be considered there at that number 9 overall pick. I'm still happy that we got Tyree Wilson, but we got to make it a huge emphasis to get all of those spots along the offensive line addressed. And, obviously having a hole at one of the tackle spots is concerning. But if you guys do feel confident with Tevin Jenkins at 1 tackle, then I guess we're chilling, because Braxton Jones is a really promising guy, a surprising guy, really, coming out year 1 for the Chicago Bears last year. Okay. So I'm just taking a look because, like, wide receiver, I feel like we don't really need at this point, and even corner. And we have another pick here at 62, so if one of those guys is still there, we'll snag him there. Let's see. Okay, so I think we are going to go Matthew Bergeron here. Again, not super excited about it because he's not one of the, top-tier tackle prospects in this year's group, but it'll have to do right there at number 54 overall, and obviously they're not going to sign a veteran at this point for the tackle position. They're probably looking to address that in the draft. So Matthew Bergeron there at 54 out of Syracuse. Don't expect him to be a top-tier tackle year 1, or even look like he's starting caliber in a sense. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to have hiccups along the way. But he's definitely a player that you want to see progress over some period of time before you get some, real results out of him. Okay. And again, there are guys like Emmanuel Forbes, Deontay Banks, I think could seriously go in the first round. So we definitely need to consider them here. I think at this point we can even consider Siaki Ika, but I'm not feeling confident about that one. So I do want to refrain from taking him at the moment. I think I'm going to go with one of these corners here. Like I said, a lot of young corners in this group, right? But I think we can get a really talented guy here at some seriously good value here in the second round. Again, two guys that could potentially go in the first round this year. That is definitely not out of the conversation. I do like Deontay Banks a little more. I think he's just the better man-to-man corner and one of the better man-to-man corners in this entire draft. Very underrated, not talked about enough because of how much depth there is in this current class. Emmanuel Forbes does a great job of just finding the football and knows how to get yards after he has the football in his hands. So I'm going to go Deontay Banks here. I think we got two very quality defenders in this year's draft, and here we are picking again here at the top of the third round. I think at this point we can go Siaki Ika. I know that the team's second defensive tackle right now, interior defensive lineman Andrew Billings, we could certainly upgrade at that spot. I think Justin Jones had a phenomenal year last year considering that there wasn't much talent on that defense in general. But I think it wouldn't hurt to bring another big body in the middle to help stop the run. And Siaki Ika also does have a handful of pass rush moves for a big guy, so that could be an exciting pick. He's a very disruptive player, and you're going to notice him once he's on the field because that is a massive body taking up some space and helping other players create plays if he doesn't do it himself. So I'm actually, pretty satisfied with the way this draft has gone so far. Obviously would have liked to get a more quality tackle because you're probably going to expect this guy to start day one. But because we have that flexibility with Tevin Jenkins, right, you can start him for the first few weeks at tackle. And then when you start to feel comfortable with Bergeron, right, then you can throw him in the mix and then he can be that starting tackle from there on out. So definitely not the worst scenario to be in the world, right? But again, nonetheless, we need to go and protect our franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. Don't allow him to have any excuses and just put him in a position to succeed. So there are some good linebackers here at the top of the board. Now you go out and get TJ Edwards from the Eagles. You also go out and get Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills. So you have a pretty good group. And then I believe you also have Sanborn, who was on the team. Very young player. So I think you want to see him develop as well. We could go Sidney Brown here. I really like Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown is one of my favorite players in this year's draft. Yeah, but then you have safety all the way down here, so I just don't think it's much of a priority. Don't know how much you get involved, but if he's sitting here in round 4, again, I value this player much higher than that. So, I'd feel very comfortable taking him here at this spot. Okay, don't want to go quarterback here. I think Jaren Hall would be a good fit as a backup quarterback, but don't really want to use a 4th-round pick on that at the current moment. We could go with another wide receiver here. We pick again at 134. Do I wait until that time? Okay, here, you know what? So, even if Sidney Brown doesn't start, right? And I mean, most guys, in the 3rd round and below, they're not always guaranteed to start, like the 1st and 2nd round guys. So, Sidney Brown, we're going to pick him up here. Although we don't need it, I think it's a very, very valuable pick considering the production and the athleticism that he brings to the table. If you haven't seen Sidney Brown's tape, which I think also can be overshadowed by this defensive back class, and also Devin Witherspoon, who's a very hyped up prospect coming into this year's draft, you got to check out Sidney Brown. This dude also has a nose for the football and makes big play after big play. Really like his game, and he's got that Talanoa Hufanga here, so he gives those kind of vibes off too when you watch him play. But very exciting player, and one that we should definitely be acknowledging in this year's draft. Round 4, I think, is an absolute steal. Will be a starter down the road. Okay, 134 here. Interesting. A lot of corners again, and that's going to be a theme of this draft. Just a lot of good corners coming off the board. We just don't know when. Could be very early on, could be very late. Maybe a lot of steals in this draft. We'll just have to wait and see and let it all unfold. I wouldn't mind bringing in another wide receiver here. I think that's what we're going to do, considering what the board looks like right now. Or maybe this could be the Jaren Hall pick. Yeah, you know what? So we'll do that. I know I said that we're not necessarily looking for a backup quarterback, but that could actually be a quality guy where he kind of fits what Justin Fields can already do. So, if by chance Justin Fields can't suit up for a game for whatever reason, Jaren Hall can come in, and he also provides athleticism and is a multi-dimensional quarterback who knows, understands, and can push the ball down the field, but also uses his legs to extend plays and make plays down the field as well. So Jaren Hall, I think, could be a really fun player to have as a backup. And then I think we're going to go Nathaniel Dell here. I think we could still use some depth at the wide receiver spot. It's a small wide receiver that can make very, very good contested catches. So that's an exciting player, one of Houston's best players last year. But again, it's his size and his height that's going to bring his draft stock down. But you could definitely find him here around round 5 where we're currently sitting. Okay, we could go Eli Ricks here, but again, just a young group of corners where I don't want to bring in too many guys, right? Because we still have some promising and developing players already in the building. Sean Tucker's an interesting one. Again, I did say that we could consider bringing in a running back here. That would be a very quality running back to bring in round 5 and would probably go much sooner than this, but okay. Let's see. Mike Morris would also be an interesting one. Don't know if he's necessarily the type of build that they're looking for at the edge rusher spot. But could be an interesting one. One of my favorite guys, lower on the board. We are going to go Sean Tucker here. I think there's a lot of upside with this pick. I would say he's a physical runner, but at the same time, very elusive as well, and did a great job at Syracuse this past year. I know my friend Micah is very high on Sean Tucker this year, so I think he would snag him in the 5th round if he was still sitting here, of course. But again, although Sean Tucker is not one of my favorite running backs in this class, and this is a very good running back class, as I mentioned before, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes round 3, round 4. I can't imagine he'd be here in the 5th round. Just did a lot for that Syracuse team last year. Very consistent running back as well. So I like that pick right there. Again, throw him into the mix. I don't think anyone's really guaranteed a starting spot on this running back group right now, but you do have a solid list of names here even after the addition of Sean Tucker. So we have 2 more picks after this, picking at 220 and 260. I know that the Bears already maneuvered in real life, going from 1 to 9, but I'd imagine that at some point they're going to trade up or even possibly trade down from that 9 spot. But there's definitely still some maneuvering to do if you want to get your favorite players in this year's draft, which I can't imagine they just sit and pick. But, I mean, you never know. Look, we did it ourselves, and we got some very quality players throughout every single round that we've picked. Okay, let's see. What do we want to do here? A lot of these guys are going to just be like special teamers and stuff. Maybe we could go in and, get a kicker or a punter. I don't know. Heck, that'd be fun. Is it even, considered here? No. But I know that the Bears special teams isn't the most special group in the league. Maybe we can have some fun with it, Guys, don't be overly critical with me, if I take a special teams guy. It's all for fun. We're here in the 7th round, and what I pick now doesn't affect what they're going to do in real life. Let's go with Michael Turk, a.k.a. Hang Time on YouTube. We'll go with him there. Kicker/punter, although primarily a punter. Some cool stuff right there. Special teams gets a lot of love on YouTube. You even have guys like Destroying. That's another guy that people really, really like. Okay. Pretty happy with the way that this went. We can do a quick rundown since we're waiting for the simulation, but just look at the range of positions that we got. I mean, we addressed almost every single position in this draft. That's pretty exciting. We have our edge defender, which we're really looking for, and many people thought before they traded, hey, Will Anderson at 1, right? We still get a very quality guy in Tyree Wilson there at number 9. We get our future tackle in Matthew Bergeron. Deontay Banks, I think, is a steal at the back end of the 2nd round. Siaki Ika will fill in for that second interior defensive line spot, along with Justin Jones. Sidney Brown, very, very talented player, should not be here in the 4th round, but we're lucky enough to snag him here. Jaren Hall is a very quality scheme fit type quarterback here to back up for Justin Fields. And then you have Nathaniel Dell after that to provide some wide receiver depth and talent. Sean Tucker, same thing for the running back group. And then Michael Turk, just because we wanted to have a little bit of fun. And heck, we'll add a little bit more. I like Parker Washington. I've taken him a lot in the 7th round. I'm going to continue to do it. I think he's a pretty solid player. Okay. I like the way that this draft went. Hopefully you guys did as well. And, if you're not a Chicago Bears fan, hopefully you can get a feel of how this top 10 is going to unfold. If you are a Bears fan, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, it's draft season all year long. And until then, I will see you guys all later.